Okay, we're going to build this 545 RFE, and we was talking about this goofy bearing when I tore it apart. I didn't recall ever seeing one that looked like that. I swore I've done later model 545s, but I guess I haven't. Starting in 07, they went to this bearing. It's 204 thousandths thick, and when they went to this bearing, they changed this gear. So if this little lip right here measures 85 thousandths, it takes a 204 thousandths thick bearing. If it measures 142 thousandths, it takes the 150 thousandths bearing. And the one that takes this bearing, overall height is 2 inches 12 thousandths. The other one is 2 inches 65 thousandths. And then the outside diameter of this bearing is 2 inch 517, and the outside diameter of the other bearing is 2 inch 360. Said all that to say this: you can use either one, you just got to use the right bearing with the right gear. So if you got the short step, use the thick bearing. If you got the tall step, use the thin bearing. Got this orifice filter in the back here. Make sure it's free and in there. And our bevel plate, the dish is going to face up. Got these two half moons. You can put the opening in one of these openings. You don't want it sitting on top of one of these fingers. And these go in the bottom groove. Alright, and we got the snap ring. So the taper of your tips is facing up. You want that up towards you. There we go. Low reverse clutches. Pressure plate. Snap ring. It's a flat snap ring, 61 thousandths. Alright, our Sprague Assembly, you got a blind spot. You got this, that's where it lines up. like the 68 RFE. They eliminated this so you can put the clutches around. The Sprague Assembly, you can set it in there first and then put your clutches in. It makes it a lot nicer. This thing's got a lot of sharp edges, and does nothing but cut you up. Alright, then we got another snap ring, taper up. Alright, we're going to be like that. Center support. Bevel spring, the cone is going to face up. Another snap ring that goes on there. And again, put the taper up. Not as critical on this one. Yeah, I just take a screwdriver and a hammer and I work it in. And you can do yours however you want to. It's our return spring. I get a C6 direct drum bushing and I split it open and I just spread it out. Until I got a big enough opening. I'll put that in the foot press and put it down, and then put my snap ring in, taper up. And we got our steel clutches. Our pressure plate, and then our snap ring. I can measure this one, although it shouldn't need, and I think this is the only one that's even close to this size. 85 thousandths. thin ones. And go on the, actually, I did that. It's going to go face down in the groove back there. And our gear is going to go on top. Our planetary, this is going to take the thick one since we're 2007 and up. Actually, I have to turn that upside down too. It goes this way, with this lip facing down. Our snap ring, it is 63 thousandths. One of these bearings with this little feet, they're going to face up. And another little orifice filter, make sure it's in there. Usually in your kit you're going to get a package that looks like that. Take the lip seal. You want the lip facing down. And a big O-ring. Can't have too much lube on this one here. It needs a lot. I'm going to line up one of these with one of these. Pull your sealing rings off if they haven't been blown out. Make sure they're not still down in there. You can put grease in there if you want to. The sealing rings need to go like that, not like that. I just grab them and give them a little tweak. Help keep them up in the groove. If they don't want to stay up in there, then I usually use some grease on them. green one goes in the bottom groove. The red one goes in the second groove there. Then we're going to put the lip down again. Get this hook of a scribe up underneath there and kind of run it around, make sure that you didn't roll the lip. Here again, you cannot have too much lube. Alright, it don't say anywhere about doing this, but you notice there's 2 feed holes. I find one of the feed holes, and I find the feed hole in the drum, and it's kind of get it pretty close. It seems to be easier to put the drum down if I do that. I don't know why. Get it to where you feel the splines line up. Make sure we're down far enough. And a pair of snap ring pliers like so. And on the snap ring, you'll notice there's a beveled side and a flat side. You need to bevel up. Make sure that snap ring's all the way in. You want this piston, make sure that bleed orifice is in there and it's free. Alright, quit tipping on me. Go. Return spring, balance piston. snap ring, we put the taper up. We're going to put the opening right there in one of those openings. Alright, you get your clutches. Sometimes you get different colored ones. Usually the tan ones are the thin ones, and they go in the underdrives. There's 4 of them, 78 thousandths. And the next ones are the underdrives, and they're going to be 89 thousandths. And then your top ones are going to be your reverse, and they're going to be 78 thousandths also. So I got them separated, ready to go. And we got our steels, since we had to replace them and get them separated. 85 thousandths on the steels are going to go in the overdrives. And then our 69 thousandths are going to go in the underdrives. And let me go get our snap rings and pressure plates. Alright, I'm going to leave my hubs out at the momentary. Let's see if my clearance comes out right. We're going to start off with the steel. Actually put those upside down. Before. And we're going to have a flat snap ring. It is 62 thousandths. Goes in the bottom groove. We got our plate. 295 thousandths. You notice the difference in the step. The step goes down. Then we got a tapered snap ring. It is 94 thousandths. Actually, I guess I should check my clearance. Make sure it looks good. You can see down in there, but yeah, it's about what we're looking for. Our hub with the shaft on it. It's going to take another one of the thin bearings. It's going to go in the back right there. Now our overdrives, we're going to start with a clutch and our seals. And I got this wavy snap ring. It is 62 thousandths. You can go on the outside and you're going to push it down to the bottom of the groove. And we got our pressure plate. It's got a step on each side. Measuring at the steps is 385 thousandths. And we got another snap ring. 62 thousandths, it's flat. Alright. Clearance looks pretty good. Got a hub, another thin bearing, may have been difficult. Yep. And we got this hub, another thin bearing, goes on the back, and the clutch, and our steel, and our clutch, and our pressure plate. It's measuring 266 overall, and then knock this to the bottom of the groove, and our snap ring 74 thousandths. Now we're going to pry our pressure plate back up against the snap ring. All of our hubs should turn freely. At this bearing. And another thin bearing. It's going to go in just like that. This ring gear, this plastic washer, you want these notches down. It'll only line up one direction. Put these little tabs in there. You're going to go in these little slots right here. And we got another bearing with the little feet. Sit on top of that. Got a thin bearing, it's going to sit upside down, and just like that. This gear is going to go in here, and this bearing is going to fit on top. And where am I missing? Oh, this one's going to go between this planet and the rear planets. Alright, if your old seal looks like that and your new seal looks like that, it's okay. You can use either one. So I'm going to go support the back end of this and press the seal in. And then we got an O-ring goes on here. For our pump, I'm putting this Transgo kit in. Take the clip, spring, and I don't think that's a steel valve. It is. Alright, this is what we're getting in our kit. Put the O-ring on the back here. Give her lots of lube. Squeeze it down. Put this in. Put our valve in with the hole facing back outside, and our two springs in. clip. I'm going to put the flatter side in. Make sure the rest of this is free. Alright. Got our inner gear, and then our two outer gears, and I always mark one of them. I put them back exactly where they came out of. Got our little flapper valve. Separator plate. Early ones would have two 25 Torx bolts that would go in these two spots. If you leave these out and it's supposed to have them, it will not move. And I'm going to have to put some grease on there, keep that from falling out. Okay, apparently we wasn't recording that whole time. It really kind of torques me off. I gotta go back, try to redo all this. So, I guess I can go ahead and say here that some of your kits have valve body gaskets that come in them now, and they also have a gasket that goes between the pump and the stator. So you should, if you want to put that gasket on, you should do that. This kit did not come with any of that, so it's not getting it. Put our stator in. You make sure these two bleed orifices are in there and that they're free. Put the flat edge against here. .30 Torx. There's 5 of them. Out our sealing rings. Yeah, hook and loop, just like that. change out that seal right there. Stay. Okay, the early models, the seal would have went inside the pump itself. And if the seal would have went in here, there would have been another snap ring that goes around on that cover. .25 Torx, a lot of them. Wrong socket.
What is the transmission number? You know,
1465. Alright, you got a big lug opening here. You got your large lug here. You got a beveled snap ring. .73 thousandths bevel up. I always put the opening at 6 o'clock. interplanetary assembly. These lugs are going to lock into the Sprague down there. And our bearing is going to piece in there just like that. Our planet assembly. Our ring gear. Alright, our pressure plate. You only go in one way, the 3 lugs at the top, the 2 lugs at the bottom. And our clutch. And the steel. And clutch. Another steel. And got a snap ring that goes in the bottom groove, 61 thousandths. And our center support. And we have a tapered snap ring. It is 114 thousandths. The taper is going to go up, and we want none of the snap ring in this area right here. Make damn sure that you're all the way up in that groove. Put our input drum in. Once it's down, you'll know it's down. This rotor will be in the center of this hole right here. Put our pump in. $10 millimeters. And I got it lined up. Helps if you line it up. Make sure we turn. Lube this all up. Here's another spot where you can't have too much. Lube up our O-ring. Put our snap ring in. Two sealing rings on each of these. Check your bores. There's the inner and outer, inner and outer, inner and outer, inner and outer, just the outer. See if I can get this back out of here. They're really difficult to get out. I've only seen a couple that were broken. Alright. Outer spring. Inch 936. 938. 152. Inch 693. 642. 127. Alright, there's a shuttle valve, in plug. There's a plastic keeper, 3 shuttle valves, and then your regular valve. Make sure all that's in there. The early models, this plate was bad about breaking, and they made an updated plate for it, but I haven't seen one broken a long time. Seven check balls. Here's a billion of these bolts, so I'm going to get these in there, and I'm trying to not have to change battery, so I'm going to shut this off for a sec. I'm going to go ahead and put my seal on here. Put my seal on the solenoid back side here. And I'll get this all bolted up. Let me show you something on here before I do that. Back on the back side here, there would have been some bleed orifices like that. If those are in there, make sure that there's no empty holes and that they're free. And you got these 3 seals that go in here. You got your 2 line-up holes here and here. This little stem's got to go down inside there. Alright, get you a little scribe. If you got one that's got a little bend in it like that, it makes it a lot easier. You can get in here and get this O-ring out of here. I already did the top one, trying to save a little bit of time. And you just kind of stick it towards the groove and get your scribe and just kind of push it in there and just work it around. And just give it a little twirl. Make sure it's seated in there good. Let's see. Filler tube boot. Alright. Got our linkage here. It's going to have to hook into right here. Best don't go all the way back because it tends to shove the park rod out past the actuator. I go like 1 notch up and then just start setting it on there. It allows you to see it, and then you can guide it onto there. You'll know you're on it when you got detents. Got 8 millimeters for the valve body. Make sure we're still able to move. And our filter. Got a 25 Torx that goes back here. Filter here. I like these metal ones better. But the ones that have the plastic inserts, make damn sure that insert is tight, because if it's not tight and you just screw this on there, the filter will fall off. And also look at the diaphragm underneath there and make sure it's not right up against the holes. Just a little lube. We've got 2 O-rings on our line pressure sensor. There's an 8 millimeter that holds that in. There's 8 millimeters that hold the speed sensors in. If you got a speed sensor code, you can swap these around and see if the code changes from one to the other. If it does, then you know you got a bad speed sensor. this. I'm trying to do this. You don't need to see me put the pan on. There's speed sensors go in there, or lever seal. A lot of times these will just fall out. Just lube it up. And just get you a socket that fits over it. There's a linkage. And it's got a blind spot, so you can only line it up one way. A 10 millimeter on that. O-ring comes in a kit for the torque converter. You should get one on the converter company that sends it to you. Got our park gear. And the little snap ring that holds it in. Put the taper of the tips out towards you. Yeah. Make me get the snap ring pliers out. Alright, my battery's fixing to die. I don't think you need to see me put the tail housing on. 15 millimeters on the tail housing. Silicone the pan. Even if you get a pan gasket, all it's gonna do is leak. And other than that, I think we're done for this one. There is one more thing. Down in the bottom of your holes for your bolts, make damn sure that there's no silicone down in the bottom of them. Because if you do, if you have any in there, when you go to bolt this down, it's just going to rip the threads right out of the case.